Shri Sai Ram. Dear students, hearty welcome to one and all for the 10th class state syllabus science textbook 2 and the chapter heredity and evolution. Today we will be discussing the sixth part of this chapter, which mainly deals with evolution. Before we start with the understanding of this part 6 evolution, let us recap the previous part key points and also check out the answers for the assignment 5 and get it cleared. In our previous class, we understood the sex of an individual, how it has to be determined. That is sex determination. The mechanism by which the sex of an individual is determined as it begins life. Further, we continued that the sex determination is also being carried out by the environmental factors also, either the change in the climate or during the incubation period there is change of sex. So environmental factors are also responsible for sex determination. Further, we continued that the male is heterogametic, where we started to discuss in detail about the sex determination in human beings. In that regard, we came to know that there are 23 pairs of sex chromosomes not. There are 23 pairs of chromosomes in human beings, irrespective of male or female. Out of these 23 pairs, 22 pairs are autosomes, somatic cells they are, whereas only one pair is the sex chromosomes. In male, the sex chromosome will be XY, hence it is heterogametic. In female, the sex chromosomes are XX, they are homogametic. Further, we continued the born child to be male or female. Who is responsible? It is the male or the father is responsible for the born child to be male or female. If the born offspring is having the zygote of XX, then it will be the female or the girl baby will be born. If the offspring, the zygote is XY, then the boy baby or the male is being born. How the process we understood the sex determination mechanism in human being in our previous class. Let us now check out the answers of assignment 5. Give reasons, the first question. In that, the first one, male is heterogametic. Since male produces gametes of both X chromosomes and Y chromosome. Second one, female is homogametic. Since female produces gametes of only X chromosome, hence it is homogametic. Second question, how is the sex of the child determined in human beings? Very important question from the exam point of view also. A 3 marks question. Let us see it in the next page, the answer. As we already discussed this in detail during the previous class, just to brief up with, the male which is having XY chromosomes and producing X gametes as well as Y gametes, whereas the female having XX chromosomes produces only X gametes, and the zygote formation depends on the fusion of the gametes of male and female. If the male X gamete fuses with the female X only, then the zygote will be XX and the child born or the offspring will be female. If the Y gamete of male fuses with again the X gamete of the female only, then there is XY zygote formed and the offspring will be male. This is the explanation part that is being given here. The father is responsible for the sex of the offspring. A sperm, which is nothing but the male gamete carrying X chromosome, fertilizes with an egg or the female gamete carrying X chromosome, then the offspring will be a girl, that is female, XX. A sperm or the male gamete carrying Y chromosome fertilizes an egg or the female gamete carrying X chromosome, then the offspring will be a boy, that is male, XY. So, father is responsible for the sex of an individual, whether the child born is male or female. The third question, fill in the blanks and name the sex of the individual. Already it is been placed here, where you can understand very clearly. Male, we know that 22 pairs, that means 44 chromosomes are autosomes. Only one pair XY, that is the sex chromosome. It is responsible. Again here, 44 chromosomes, autosomes in the females, and XX is the sex chromosome in female. Now here we know that the gametes X and Y can be formed. Here we get only X gametes only. Now those gametes are going to crossing over, they fuse. That means if the male of the 22 plus X of female fuses, 22 plus X of male fuses with 22 plus X of female, then we are getting XX. This is more important, and the born child is female. Here again XX, the born child is female. But here the Y of male fuses with X of female, XY, and the child will be the male. Here also Y with the X and it is XY, the born child is male or the boy baby. In this way, the sex of an individual is being determined, and this is an application type question for the sex determination in an individual. Evolution. The part 6 of this chapter. Very happy to see all of you seated with interest and taking down the main points. Dear students, I remember one of a beautiful saying which is evergreen. By birth, you are an animal. By education, you are human. By sadhana, you are divine. This is evolution. Dear students, remember this. By birth, we are all animals. ಮಂಗದಿಂದ ಮಾನವ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. By education, which education? The education which is going to inculcate in you the values of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema and Ahimsa. And it is going to develop in you the compassion for the poor and the helping nature for the needy. Then you become human. By sadhana, sa, that, dhana, wealth, that wealth. Which is that wealth? That wealth which is nothing but the divinity, to merge in the divinity or to become the Almighty or to become God or to merge in God. That is the sadhana. By sadhana, you become divine. This is real evolution. So evolution is Manava becoming Madhava. ಮಾನವನು ಮಾಧವನಾಗುವುದೇ ನಿಜವಾದ ಜೀವ ವಿಕಾಸ. God descends on earth in order to ascend man. ಭಗವಂತ ಧರೆಗಿಳಿತಾನೆ. God incarnates in the human form on this earth in order to make the humans to realize their divinity and to make them equal to him. When that happens, then it is evolution. Dear students, that is the ultimate evolution. But according to the science, according to the great biologists, their investigation on this creation which is made by the Creator, we start forgetting the Creator and we remember that the creation is permanent. But the Creator is permanent. Creation will change. Creator is ultimate. He is evergreen. He is Brahman. He is God. So by the efforts of the great biologists on this creation, they told that evolution has taken place. Then what this evolution is according to the biologist and according to science? It is derived from the Latin word evolvere, which means unfold. It tells that it's a constant process of gradual change. It is not a sudden change. It is a slow change. A constant process of gradual change that is occurring in the organisms since the origin of life. From simple to complex. ಸರಳತೆಯಿಂದ ಸಂಕೀರ್ಣತೆಗೆ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಹಂತ ಹಂತವಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯೇ ಜೀವ ವಿಕಾಸ. So evolution is a constant process of gradual change of an organism from simple to complex. This is evolution. There are types of evolution because we have two things in this creation: living things, non-living things. Hence, evolution is also of two types. The evolution of organic matter, that is organic evolution, life evolution, biotic evolution. The organic evolution mainly deals with the gradual changes that is taking place in living organisms from simple to complex. That is organic evolution. Inorganic evolution, it is also evolution. It is also a gradual process of change of non-living things from simple to complex. So inorganic evolution is non-living things changing from simple to complex. Organic evolution is living things changing from simple to complex. This is two types of evolution. Father of evolution, the biologist who sacrificed selflessly his whole life, blood and flesh, in order to bring out the creation's hidden knowledge to tell you. And he is none other than Charles Darwin. Charles Robert Darwin, he is called as the father of evolution. If you recollect your previous classes of 7th or 8th standard and all, there you might have heard about Charles Darwin's principles of evolution. Overpopulation, struggle for existence, survival of the fittest, natural selection. If the creation is having many organisms, then those organisms need the basic needs: food, shelter, and clothing. For these basic needs, they start to struggle. That is called a struggle for existence. Then, survival of the fittest, who can uphold, who can withstand, who can win to the changes in the climate or to the circumstances. Then, survival of the fittest. Even though he has survived, but the natures change. God's will, he may die also. Finally, God's selection, natural selection. These were the principles that were being coined out by Charles Darwin in the process of organic evolution. And even now it is being applicable in most of the areas. Hence he is called as the father of evolution. Let us go in deeper about this evolution. What are the things that are responsible for evolution? Which factors are responsible for evolution? Why these changes happen? For what sake these changes happen? From the simple organisms to the complex, from the unicellular to the multicellular. The factors that are responsible for evolution: defects during DNA replication. We all know the cell undergoes division when the cell retains the maturity. And that cell division, during that cell division, the DNA itself starts to divide into two, which we call it as DNA replication. During the division of the DNA, there is slight changes of combination and the permutations that take place between the nitrogen bases. With these, there is genes variation. So there is differences. That's why the defects during DNA replication brought differences in the genetic combination. That's why we call genetic variations. Natural selection. Some of the nature surrounding starts to change and the nature starts to select. Natural selection. Drastic change in the genes due to the isolation of the reproductive population, which is genetic drift. This is also responsible. Reproductive isolation, which I already told, a group of the same species just for the climatic changes starts to separate themselves from another group, and that reproductive isolation brought changes, and that factor was responsible for evolution. So defect in the DNA replication, natural selection, genetic drift, and also the reproductive isolation were the main factors for evolution. To understand this, we have an example here, that is variations in a population of inherited and otherwise. You can observe there are 3 stages: first stage, second stage, third stage. We have taken the example of red beetles, jeerundegalu, kempu jeerundegalu. Can observe here 12 beetles. So let us take the first case. In the first case, green bushes were more in a particular area, and there were the beetles. According to this picture, 12 beetles were there eating the green leaves in that bushes and enjoying themselves. From nowhere, the crows started to eat those beetles, and the beetles which were eaten were the red beetles, because green leaves, red beetles were easily identified by the crow. The crow started to eat the red beetles, and gradually the red beetles population decreased. There was only one green beetle, and that green beetle was not identified by the crows because the bushes were green and the beetle was green color. So the crows found difficult to identify the green beetle. Hence, the red beetle population gradually decreased because of the crows started to consume those beetles. But the green beetle population gradually increased. Think here. The first situation. Green color, no any human creature gave to that beetle. It is naturally inborn in that green beetle. So, natural selection. The first case we come to know, the nature's law survived. What is that natural selection survived? Red and green beetles which were being, the colors were being given by the God itself, God himself we can tell, or it is the nature's creation, red beetle and green beetle. But the crow started to eat only the red beetle since they were easily identified in the green bushes. But the green beetle was not identified since the green bushes and the green beetle, both colors were green. Hence, it was difficult for the crows to identify. Gradually, the red beetle population decreased and the green beetle's population increased. Natural selection in the first case. Coming to second case, in the same way, green bushes are more, red beetles were there, and by nowhere somehow they found blue beetle. Even the blue beetles were also being eaten by the crows. The red beetles were also being eaten. So, change of color never gave the beetles to survive here. Even though the red color changed to blue color in the beetles, but there was no survival chances because blue color was also being identified by the crows. So change in the color was not the survival option here in the second case. In the same way, red and blue beetles population also started to decrease when the crows started to consume. But from nowhere again one big gigantic elephant approached the area of this beetles, and the elephant started to put its foot, the big sized foot, on the green bushes. In that, most of the beetles were dead. They were killed under the foot of this elephant. The few that were survived, to their surprise, it was all the blue color, and the blue color population was only there. This is the second situation. In the second situation, we see red and blue beetles, they were also being eaten by the crows. But the most of them died because of the calamity that happened. What is that calamity? The elephant approached that green bushes area, and the elephant stamped on the green bushes with its big foot, where most of the beetles died. And only the blue color beetles which were survived, which were never caught under the foot of this elephant, only their population began to grow or began to increase. Their population, the blue color beetles population. Now let us see the third situation. The same sort of red color beetles are there. The red beetles, see the size of the red beetles, it is decreased here. Why? They never had food. No proper rain and no proper protection to the green color bushes, the food for the beetles started to decrease. Even though the food started to decrease and the size of the beetles started to decrease, but their reproduction continued and the DNA change was not there. Hence, we can tell starvation, hunger, or loss of weight of the beetles is not a factor that is responsible for the generations to continue for their progeny. Only the size of the beetle started to decrease, but the reproduction and the growth and the beetle babies that were born were also lean. They were also lean. Gradually, due to rain, the green bushes again started to grow. With that growth of the green bushes, the size of the beetles that was decreased, gradually it too increased here. You can observe here. So loss of weight is not a factor of change in the DNA. It doesn't affect the DNA. This is the third situation. So the first situation, natural selection started to survive there. In the second situation, due to the calamity that has taken place, even though the color change was there, but there was no any change in the survival of the beetles there. In the third situation, we see that no food for the beetles, so the size have decreased in them. Even though the size has decreased, even though there is loss of weight of the beetles, but there was no change in the DNA during the reproduction, in the DNA of the germ cells of these beetles. Then what we have understood from that pictorial explanation about the evolution? In the first case, natural selection is directing evolution in beetle population. The second case, color change gave no survival advantage. You remember very well, red color beetles, blue color beetles, both were eaten by the crows. So color change gave no survival advantage. Instead, it was simply a matter of accidental survival. Accidents in small populations can change the frequency of some genes in a population, even if they give no survival advantage, which we call it as genetic drift. We called it as genetic drift. Very important, this term, genetic drift. For your kind information, dear students. So, natural, in the first case, natural selection is directing the evolution. In second case, color change, no survival. Accidents in small populations can change the frequency of some genes in a population, even though there is no survival advantage, which we called it as genetic drift. In third case, the weight of the beetles is reduced, loss of weight, because of starvation, but no change in DNA of the germ cells. Therefore, we came to a conclusion: low weight is not a trait that can be inherited by the progeny of a starving beetle. Low weight. Here I would like to remember about the Lamarck theory and also the Darwin's theory, which you can just recollect there. Acquired and inherited traits. By understanding the beetle population 3 cases, we came to know the factors that were responsible for evolution. Finally, the evolution of any organisms which are having 2 characters, traits, acquired traits and inherited traits. Inherited, inborn, obtained from parents, whereas acquired, developed during the life of an individual. So, by birth, all are divine. The circumstances and the company will tell you whether you retain that divinity or you are going to lose that divinity. That's why most of the sages and saints used to quote, పుట్టినప్పుడు అమృత పుత్రులై పుట్టితిరి, విషయ వాంఛనలతో విషపురుగులవుతిరి. By birth you are born as the children of immortality, but due to the materialism, due to the greed, due to the attachment to the materialistic world, you became the children of poison, which we have to understand when we start to discuss with inherited trait and acquired trait. So, inherited trait from parents we are obtained. Acquired, developed during the life of an individual. That's why most of the saying goes, tell me your company, I will tell what you are. Shankaracharya quotes, సత్సంగత్వే నిస్సంగత్వం, నిస్సంగత్వే నిర్మోహత్వం, నిర్మోహత్వే నిశ్చలతత్వం, నిశ్చలతత్వే జీవన్ముక్తి. Only through the company we will develop good characters, good character, good quality, or we will retain that character and the quality of our childhood life. To tell your innocency is God. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had that innocency, inborn character. Inherited traits, genetic variations. In the genes itself there is variation, but acquired one, somatic variations. You remember, all rats, mice have tails, But if you cut off the tail of one pregnant female rat tail, and if the female rat gives birth to the rat babies, will the rat babies do not have tail? Never. They have tail. Even though the mother tail was cut off with our external force, but the born child had tail. So the tail gene is inherited. Whereas the acquired one, the somatic variation, developed due to crossing over and mutation, whereas acquired one due to use and disuse of organs and direct effect of environment. Acquired traits, use and disuse of organs, Lamarckism. That's why I mentioned the Lamarck theory. Snakes had legs, but the snake never used its legs to walk. It started to crawl. Hence, further snakes never had legs. They were all crawling only. Disuse of organs. If you think of use of organs, giraffe was like a deer. The neck was not tall in the earlier days. But due to the need of food, the food that was available at the heights, it started to raise its neck. The giraffe started to raise its neck to get the food. Further, the giraffes all had long neck. They used their neck. So they had long neck. Use and disuse of organs is acquired trait. And direct effect of environment. Next, inherited trait, passed on from one generation to another. Acquired trait die with death of the individual. It is acquired from the external surroundings. It will be there only with you. When you die, your feature also will die. Inherited trait, example, color of eyes and hair, etc. Whereas acquired trait, low weight of starving beetles, it was acquired. Body weight, this all is acquired traits or acquired character. I hope it is very much clear for all of you. Genetic drift, the elimination of genes of certain traits from the small population. When a section of species population dies of natural calamity or migrates to other region, is called genetic drift. Genetic drift. It alters the gene frequency of the remaining population. It provides diversity without any adaptations. So genetic drift means few genes starts to vanish from some small population. When the section of species population dies of natural calamity or migrates to other region, it brings about diversity without any adaptation. It also alters the gene frequency of the remaining population. Speciation, very important terms for 1 mark, these two, genetic drift and speciation. What is this speciation? Origin of new species. From what? From the existing one. Due to what? Reproductive isolation. Due to reproductive isolation of a part of its population is called speciation. New species come from the existing one. When the existing one part of the existing population get isolated, get separated from its whole population, then there is that process, that phenomenon is called as speciation. Dear students, today's class of ours, under the chapter Heredity and Evolution, we discussed about the 6th part, which is evolution. What is this real evolution we understood? Becoming divine, merging in God is real evolution we understood. ಮಾನವ ಮಾಧವನಾಗುವುದೇ ನಿಜವಾದ ಜೀವ ವಿಕಾಸ. Further, we continued according to the biologist this evolution of inorganic type and organic type. We continued the factors that were responsible for this evolution with the help of the beetle population under 3 cases. The first case, the natural selection was responsible for the beetles to survive. In the second case, even though there is a color change which never brought the survival, and due to the natural calamity, only few the survival of the fittest, which were not affected, which withstood with the natural calamity, only their population survived. In the third case, we came to know that the loss of weight of the beetles was not at all responsible for the change in the DNA of the germ cells. Then we summarized all this into 2 traits are there in any living organisms: inherited, inborn characters or traits, and acquired traits. And we understood their features. Further, we ended up with 2 important biological terms, definitions: the genetic drift, which brought about the diversity and which altered the gene frequency, and the speciation, where new species came out from the existing one due to the isolation of the same population. Hoping you all will recap in your respective places once again this part before we meet to the next part of the same chapter, and also believing that you will complete the assignment 6 also, and will be ready for the next class for the same chapter under the next part. First question of this part 6, assignment 6. What are the different ways in which individuals with a particular trait may increase in a population? Second question, why are the small numbers of surviving tigers a cause of worry from the point of view of genetics? Third question, what factors could lead to the rise of a new species? It's a thought-provoking questions, all the 3. If you just recap the content part, what it is being explained in today's class, and also going through the textbook once and twice, you will understand and you will put your efforts to write. Always, man's effort and God's grace will bring success. Hoping all of you will be ready for the next class for the same chapter. Till then, have a good time praying for the world's peace and happiness. Thanking you one and all. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Jai Sai Ram.